like 3 times.
Michael, don't be inappropriate.
We're going to leave it at that. All right. Welcome back, everybody, to What Do You Believe? Nice. Happy New Year. It's 2018, y'all.
Yeah, it was great.
I hope everybody did have a good New Year's and holidays and ate a lot of food and are doing right on their New Year's resolutions and working out.
I hope so too.
Yeah, I've been doing more pull-ups.
Are we supposed to start talking or?
Yeah, you're on air. You're live.
Okay. I thought we were getting an intro or something.
Yeah, that was the intro. Me going, "What do you believe?"
All right. All right.
That cool. Totally happened.
Nice.
Right,
so now we're into it.
Oh yeah, we're totally into it. All right, so today, David is still with his family because he's such a good guy. It's one of the reasons why I like him. Nice. He's all about the family. But he's still with his family, so he's not back in L.A., so we're still doing a podcast. Mm-hmm. And I got 2 buddies of mine. Over here I got Daniel. Daniel, please introduce yourself and give us a little quick bio.
Well, hey, guys.
You're going to have to get closer than that, David.
Oh, okay.
I mean,
Daniel.
Yeah, sorry. I usually talk to David on this side. Anyways, shoot out.
Yeah, I'm Daniel, and I work with Kyle a lot. I work with Michael a lot, actually, too. And I'm a caterer, just like these other gentlemen, and I'm always trying to get ahead. I don't know, in a bunch of cool stuff. I've taken a lot of classes in like math and chemistry and biology. I've done a bunch of random jobs, a bunch of random stuff. Yeah, I mean, I try, but you know, it's still a very long path because I just been trying to like get a better perspective of it all. Like,
you're hustling in LA, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and where are you from originally?
I'm actually from here. A lot of people, they don't believe me for some reason because my mannerisms are not quite.
Oh, you're from LA.
I am.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm learning this now.
So you're a local.
I'm a local.
This is awesome. Yeah, I didn't know this about Daniel. Like you know someone,
we're opening
but then
up doors.
now it's like now I know where you're from.
Yeah.
Go on.
Yeah.
Now I'm intrigued.
I know it's been cool. I've lived in Canoga Park actually for like almost half my life.
Canoga. All right. I know some people up in Canoga.
It's super cool. I mean, last I was there, I don't really know too much about it. I had a job interview with World Financial Group as as a salesman of some sort, but it didn't really fit what I believed in the business model. Kind of like they only wanted to pay me commission, for example. And
so you turned them down?
Yeah, I did.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
Well, whatever. I mean, I learned some cool stuff,
hey.
And just that was the last time I was in Canoga Park, but I've done a whole bunch of random stuff. I've lived in Seattle. I've traveled across the country a little bit, and
nice.
And I'm just trying to figure it all out.
Ever make it to the East Coast?
The East Coast? No, actually not yet. Not yet. Oklahoma is as far as I've gone, and I still do want to.
Oklahoma. Nice.
Yeah, I want to see New York. I mean, maybe not now, or maybe now because there's a bomb cyclone.
Was it like an? Oh wait.
Because of what?
Hang on. He just dropped that.
Yeah, repeat that one more time.
What? Well,
you literally dropped the bomb on the conversation.
Yeah.
You just. Well, I was in the middle of about to say say something, and you just went bomb, and I went what?
It was just I don't know. I do need to visit there. There's a bomb cyclone there, and I've never seen a winter hurricane.
A bomb cyclone?
Yeah, that's what they're calling it. They're calling the
cyclone.
Yeah,
cyclone. Okay,
a bomb cyclone. Yeah. They said the drop in pressure.
We're talking about the weather.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not
so explain
bombs.
what a bomb cyclone is.
Yeah.
Because I have no idea what you're talking
about. Oh well, there's just like
I just put 2 and 2 together. I just figured I never heard that term.
Well,
but
some of us ain't just as smart as you.
You.
Anyways,
it's
what's a bomb?
Coming from New York, you know.
What's a bomb cyclone here?
Well, I mean, like there's an entire East Coast, even all the way down to Florida. There's an incrediable drop in pressure and hurricane-like activity happening around the East Coast. So,
all right.
like a whole bunch of stuff is frozen.
Why do you think that, by the way?
What I think it. Oh, I mean, isn't that? I'm just trying to give you the definition of a bomb cyclone, which is an incredible drop in pressure.
But why is all this crazy stuff happening in the weather?
I don't know. I guess I can play the global warming card. But I've realized that.
Oh man, I gotta give you this video, dude. I saw
another
this.
video.
Let me talk about this real fast though. Right. I forgot his name. Oh my god, it's.
You can't refer something.
Yeah. No. All right, but anyways, he's like extremely.
Take the idea like it's your own.
All right.
And then put a link to the video in the.
All right, I'll put a link. Once it was on Facebook, but I will find it. All right, so think about this really fast, okay? And it's all about the money, my friend.
Okay.
All right.
Money.
So let's say that the ice caps are going to melt like the scientists are saying projecting, like, which is super soon. You know what I'm saying? And sea level is going to rise between 10 foot and 100 foot. Let's say just 10 foot, right? Well, that's going to like totally wipe out like the Bahamas. It's going to wipe out Puerto Rico. It's going to wipe out Florida, a lot of Texas. Like Florida's gone. You know what's going on in Florida right now? Condominium development. The people with the money, making the most money in the world, are throwing money into this place, right? And they would never do that. They would never. An insurance company would never.
Why would they do that? They're going to be underwater.
Exactly. An insurance company would never insure any of those condominiums if the science said that this is really going to happen. And it's all about the money, dude.
So are you saying it's not going to happen?
I think it's not going to happen. I think they're going to keep building houses along the coast for hundreds of years from now. And I don't think it's going to be so catastrophic that everything is going to be wiped away, because if they really thought that, there wouldn't be one. Because I used to sell home and auto insurance, and it's like you have to get special in North Carolina. You have to get special hurricane insurance.
So do you think that the buzz is causing like this like money ripple or something?
No, yeah, I feel like Al Gore's making a shitload of money, dude. Yeah. And I feel like all the people that are promoting that stuff are making a lot of money off of it, because they're like, hey, the earth is dying. There are CO2 emissions in the world. And also, if you got in this video, if you go to Antarctica, they've taken polar ice capsules, drilled down into the ground that's like hundreds and hundreds of thousands of years old. Right. And only 55,000 years ago, there's more CO2 in the air than there is now. And we did not have cars. We did not have like any of that stuff.
So it didn't make much of a dent.
Exactly. What I'm saying, it's happened naturally before in the past. So it could be just part of this cycle that's going on naturally.
Right.
Interesting.
And I feel like that's the case, because if it wasn't, insurance companies wouldn't insure these places. These people would not build these places because it would not be insured.
From an economics point of view, this whole thing sells and it makes money.
It's smart to follow the money nowadays to really get closer to what the truth really is, because everyone's
But yet, on the other hand, so you're talking about money and the economics of it. Daniel over here is talking about the actual science behind it. So it is something's happening.
It's not actually.
He's talking about the cyclone. He wasn't talking about anything about politics.
It's all about which scientist you're talking to.
Bomb cyclone.
The bomb cyclone.
Some scientists say this is happening because of this. Some people. There used to be an ice age back in the Middle Ages, bro. Are you aware of that? Like there used to be a freaking ice age, like while we existed.
Yes.
And there were not even cars at the time. There weren't any coal factories at the time. There was not even a quarter or even a fraction of the amount of people that are in the world today.
I'm not saying your reason wasn't relevant. I'm just saying that you could see how they're.
You're talking about it getting colder, and I'm just rebuttaling about it. Just because it's getting colder doesn't mean that it's because of us.
That's true.
Yeah,
that's it.
That is a really abrupt conclusion to make, because I mean, for as far as that goes, we as a species haven't really studied the effects of our impact and the extent where we actually have really concrete evidence, because there's so many variables.
It's so new.
Yeah, there's nearly an unknowable amount of variables. Even if we just talk about the chemicals that get thrown into the air, there's so many different kinds that the mechanism, like the overall mechanism of how all the things that we're putting into the atmosphere, how that really translates into particular effects that are happening now, it's extremely difficult and arrogant to say that we can really know anything like that for sure. I mean, sure, there's really obvious things.
Science is constantly changing. It's constantly changing.
It is. The paradigm keeps changing too.
I mean,
the paradigm itself of science changes too.
Like, they're constantly discovering. This is a new planet.
Einstein wasn't quite so smart as they thought he was.
It's a planet. It's actually the same size as a planet, so people call it a planet. It's like there's so many different.
Well, it's like quantum mechanics and quantum physics is kind of
it's constantly changing.
It's disproving things that they thought were Einstein's theories, like so many years long ago. Like it always keeps changing.
Yeah, it's constantly changing.
And that's a good thing, because that's just a reflection of the healthy
maybe
growth.
It goes back to what we were saying before with the whole Rolling Stone thing, like off air, like life's got to keep going on.
Yeah,
because it's like, what happens if we just figure it out? What happens if we actually find out the answer everybody wanted to know, which is whatever that may be in your mind, you know?
What is that? What is that question?
Well, it could be like the existence of God, or it could be just, everything about evolution is fact, and we find out the end game, all that, whatever it is.
I can tell you what the end game is right now.
Whatever
Everybody dies.
Whatever the answer is.
That's the end game, bro.
All I'm saying is, if it didn't keep constantly changing, like, would it be interesting?
No, it needs.
Life would literally die.
Yeah,
life would die.
It needs to change.
If you couldn't if you actually hit the ceiling and figured it out, and I'm talking about like everybody is on the same page of like, oh, we found the answer, and everybody knows it. Life would die.
Well, that's why evolution makes sense, because all it is an adaptation to your immediate surroundings in such a way where even when the Galapagos Islands, I think those are the key islands that Darwin explored to see, oh my God, this is obviously evolution, because there's similar species on each of these different islands that were separated by a volcano from countless thousands of years ago, that all these species adapted. And that is why it's important. Adaptation is important for our continued strength and also even for our continued growth. And that is why it's good that we're constantly changing our paradigms and increasing in our understanding, because like people like Galileo or like Newton or Darwin or even Einstein, like we mentioned.
Yeah, but do you think it's healthy that if it changes so quickly?
Well, we can't,
like something like new in like a new change in weather.
Well, everything. All of a sudden, well, I mean, the weather aside, I mean, everything is
maybe it's going to weed out some of the population. I don't know.
It could. I mean, okay. So what do we have? We have to talk about population control, the weather.
I'm just saying. I'm just going off of what you're saying, and I'm putting 2 and 2 together again, which I do often. Sometimes I don't always come up with 4. Sometimes it comes up with 22. But whatever.
It is. Yeah. It is no.
And
yeah, it's. There's no doubt that we're going to be changing more and more quickly, because now there is access for more and more of our extremely large population to make contributions.
Because population is growing faster than ever, right?
Yeah.
See
what?
Yeah.
As in yes.
Oh yeah.
As in Spanish.
Do you see?
Español. See.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Why is that changing? Why do you think that is? Like, why are we producing more and more people?
Because people love having sex.
Or do you think it's because we're living longer?
Well, it all depends on where you're living.
Well, I mean, if you're living longer, it's not doesn't mean that you're procreating longer. You don't really stop.
If you live in Japan, you're not procreating as much as you should. They're actually their population is going way down. And if you live in a country like China, you can only have a certain amount of children. It has to stay pretty stable. Like here is like you have the freedom to like have as many babies as you want.
What happens if they start?
They want you to.
Yeah, please have more babies.
Do you think that it's possible we could ever see rules like that here? Of like you can only have one child.
Not in my lifetime.
But
I can never say what's going to happen after I die.
It's always possible, right? I mean, because
everything's possible.
Yeah. Okay.
Murphy, right?
Well, yeah, sure. I mean, I don't know if that means that everything will go wrong, if there's going to be population control or not. But just they're not going to implement rules like that in a while, because we have a lot of space in the United States.
So much space.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. I mean, everyone loves Los Angeles.
You think we have enough space? Yeah.
Oh God, man.
Yeah, but everyone's flocking to the same areas.
Yeah,
but everyone's going to the same area. It's either L.A., New York. It's all the major cities.
That's because they're brainwashed.
Yeah,
like, the reason why I'm here is because I got brainwashed.
There is a lot in between.
I mean,
it's like it's got to spread out eventually. Man, all right.
I don't know. We're.
Sorry. I didn't mean it like that.
There's a lot of people in this country. Okay, I can attest to this because I was out with one of these people the other day.
These people.
No. Listen, who believe that there is literally nothing in between New York and Los Angeles.
Well, as far as that goes, I mean,
aren't you on a date?
I mean, actually, I was.
Metaphorically,
I was, and that was big old red flag. That was a big old red flag to me.
Anyways, metaphorically.
Yeah, okay, metaphorically, sure. I mean, there's nowhere nearly as much activity as there's going on in like Los Angeles or New York, for that matter, right? What they mean by that is just there's so little going on, and not in just the ways of entertainment. Yeah, it can get more boring on that scale if you really have a huge appetite for seeing plays or like seeing really cool IMAX movies where they might not have that type of facilities to give you that type of entertainment. Just the fact that everyone's flocking these cities that has been designated as the places on the coast in particular, they have a lot more job opportunities. They have a lot They have a lot more centers of education, which can arguably be said to be better. However, I have not gone to other schools in the Midwest, for example, or even I've only been to LA City College, Valley College, Pierce College, Santa Monica College, and maybe some other one.
What do you mean to? Oh, like you've attended all those schools?
Yes. And,
oh wow.
And I got a firsthand look at how
I've attended 2 schools.
Yeah, there are clearly differences in the abilities that people have, and not just in education, but in anything for that matter. And most of those people, because of the competition and because you have to be incredibly strong to have those opportunities.
You got to be at least open-minded to believe that like there's a lot more in this country than just what the major cities have to offer.
Yeah.
You know?
Now,
and if that's for you, I mean, granted,
sure. If you go to New Mexico, it's beautiful. If you want to be in a beautiful environment, for example, even though it's relatively poor.
I've been to Santa Fe. Love Santa Fe, New Mexico. Wouldn't want to live there, but I love it.
Yeah.
You know, I would love to visit it.
And Santa Cruz is cool too. I like that place. Seattle's cool.
America's
Great
pretty
food
awesome
over there.
Yeah.
What's that?
I said America's pretty awesome.
It's awesome.
America.
It's awesome out here.
Yeah.
I have backup cities.
Yeah.
I have backup cities where like, you know, I'm like, if LA doesn't work out, there's other cities there. I'm like, I would definitely live here.
Well, I mean, there's
Tennessee.
Almost
Nashville.
anything is a
Nashville.
good financial option to
Well, that's
leave, unless you have a degree. Like it can make 6 figures. I mean, even if you're in San Francisco, you're making 6 figures. You're still not well off at all, which is nuts because I only make a fraction of that, a small fraction. So, I mean, as far as that goes, yeah, LA and New York and other really popular coastal cities, they do have that competition and that growth that we're talking about, and how people are constantly updating and upgrading, and things are growing so fast in both the way that we think about things, though the media that we watch really controls and mitigates the amount of different things that we can think about on a very, very large scale. Like say that like most of the people living in the major cities were thinking about all these different topics and actually having like, you know, think tanks or communications about it, then that'd be really interesting. But as far as growth goes, regardless of all the things that stand in the way with which we can grow in the ways that we think and the things that we learn about, LA, New York are those places which people can think that's no point to go.
Let's segue real quick.
I don't think that's going to be
that
for very long, because of the way everything is you can get Facebook Live anywhere. Or you can get.
But what about net neutrality being canceled?
All right, that's a totally different thing.
Hang on.
I'm actually for canceling net neutrality.
I want to talk about something that we wanted to bring up. How we doing on time, by the way?
Oh, we talk.
Geez, sorry, I don't know if we're like in the confines of time, like the space-time continuum. I got a little nervous.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you think that we can have a conversation in the way that we were having earlier about cryptocurrencies and Bitcoin and and all the altcoins and all this stuff, as comfortably like in Middle America?
Well, we can actually segue pretty well because it says we're growing. And this is historically one of the newest. Do you think that
there's a bigger buzz about it here in metropolitan cities?
So you want to talk about Bitcoins? Is that what?
Well, what I want to say is because we were talking about it, we wanted to make it a topic anyway.
Yeah.
So
we're going to talk about Bitcoins.
It's a big buzz. It's a big buzz, but it's a big buzz here. Is it a big buzz somewhere else? That's what I'm trying to say. Like, is there?
Like in China,
everywhere.
All over the world.
No, I'm talking about like even just here in America. Like, are people excited about it? Like in Utah, Wyoming.
There's got to be pockets of people that are interested about it. I mean, they even have quote unquote Bitcoin meetups in just about every state. Now, there however isn't as big of a buzz about it because obviously there's less people. So this is really as far as that goes. But I'm sure there's people that are making a killing in some of these supposedly ill-equipped states that don't have maybe as much financial resources, as much knowledge and information about certain topics than when there is such of a big buzz in LA, New York, for that matter. But it's still important anywhere. It doesn't mean if there's a big buzz, it's important whether we accept it or not.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, I think it just has to do
research on it.
On your beliefs, because you're not even going to put. There are a whole bunch of people that have not invested in Bitcoin because they're not even like they don't even care. They might even heard it. So it doesn't like. It's
rampant.
all about the people that are.
That's why it's all over the place. It's on. It jumps. It's such drastic jumps because of that reason. Because people are just getting on board, but it's still not quite stable.
Yeah.
So it's something that's got to be educated to people.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it doesn't have to be, but it's it's just weird. We need to watch history unfold.
Those are the
It's
people
so
that
it's such
I
a new
feel are
system.
Getting involved in it are people that are like they're educating themselves, and as they learn more about it, they're like, oh yeah, okay, I could see this working.
Well, I mean, I think if people are learning about anything at all nowadays, and they actually have a passion to do so outside of their basic 9 to 5 routine, I think that in and of itself is already exciting enough. Because what
sure.
you're basically
Yeah.
you're starting to pay attention to a new mechanism about which the things that we value and the way that we exchange our goods and services, which though may seem like a mundane thing, is pretty much all that we've ever done in the history of the planet. So it's revolutionary. And, you know, without like just a month ago, I started really paying attention to all the different things that are going on. And when I finally realized just the strange nature of this leviathan of a new type of financial system just making its appearance.
And you're for it, just to like be clear.
Yeah.
I know we talked about it. I just want to make it clear on the.
Yeah, I mean the philosophy behind
You're excited?
it.
Are you excited about it?
Yeah, I am. It's and it's not just to do with any type of new world order type of thinking that we may have about it. I mean, that's certainly a lot of interesting talk going on about that. But there's just, aside from all the different offshoots into the different interesting topics we can talk about, just the main thing about it is that it's efficient and it cuts out the middleman. And that's important in preserving our value and keeping it in our own pockets.
Yeah, it's not going to do that for long, though. Because, all right, so the banking system created this world that we live in. Like, especially the United States. Our number one...
You don't mean the federal government, do you?
No, I mean the banking system. The banks made all this. And there's no way they're going to get cut out of the world they built. Like, it's not going to happen.
Well, I mean, stuff like that has happened before,
Do you think they'll invest?
Huh?
Do you think they'll invest?
Yeah. I think Ripple's the one that is supposed to be working with the banking system. And I feel like that's going to be their entry point.
Yeah, it's interesting.
I don't know how I feel about banks getting involved again, though, because like, didn't they?
You ain't got a choice in it, bro.
Look, unless something like
Can I just be like, hey, hang on a second. Don't talk to that guy.
it's already their world. There's no escaping.
Don't talk to.
I mean,
Wells Fargo over there.
things have
That's
happened
Citibank.
in which really powerful institutions have collapsed before under the pressures of all the different changes and in their inability to adapt. Like the railroads, for example, you know, they're nearly not as powerful as they used to be. So
The what?
Railroads.
Oh, railroads.
You know, but before the advent of the car.
Oh, dude, they're still strong as hell, though, man. There's so much.
Yeah.
Like, they're still strong.
Well, yeah, no doubt. There's
Like-
railroads everywhere.
Yeah.
But point is, things have happened before in which, you know, there have been incredible upheavals which we would believe to be impossible. But, you know, like for example, the French Revolution happened, and monarchies in the way that they existed before are now just almost gone completely. So I don't know what's going to happen. Maybe they'll get involved and trick themselves into thinking that if they participate in it, they'll somehow become it in the way that where they retain most of the power. Or maybe the exact opposite can happen. And so many different changes are happening, and people are just like, hey, we recognize that we have the power to completely nullify their power over us. And then we're going to start a new revolution, a new third independent type of party or whatever. Anything can happen. Though as a realist, I don't think that anything like that will happen, because those instances in history are rare. It's still going to be fun to watch it all play out in like the next 5 years.
You would
And
have
I-
to
and
get
I
all
think
those
that-
people to believe.
Well-
That'd be the hardest thing.
Well,
is
I mean-
to believe that they had the power.
Yes, but that is happening.
To get people to believe that they actually have powers.
Okay,
It's
maybe not
hard.
that is an
It's
extreme
very
thing to
hard to
think.
do.
Yeah,
Well, that's true. I mean, because you know, you're thinking about sometimes like don't bite the hand that feeds you.
well,
There are people who like straight up trust, you know,
The government.
the government or like their pension. It may not be their government, but their union, because they know that like at the end of the day, you know, when they retire, they know how much money they're making a month. I can live off that. I'm already budgeting. I got my bank helping me out to you know, to move into that place in my life.
yeah. Once
So and
yeah.
to all of a sudden switch that, you're throwing a wrench in a very solid thing that's been you know, stable since the beginning of this country's history.
Well, I don't know if it's necessarily a wrench. It does actually improve different services which people were disenfranchised from, because banking institutions would want to participate in really poor or really difficult to manage sets of islands, for example. So there is more activity economically. you can say, I'm not an expert to say what that increase in activity is,
Mm-hmm.
but it's not so much a wrench as it is some kind of a distant cousin of the banking system that the cryptocurrencies are, and maybe superior in ways that the regular banking system is not. You know, their ability to cut out the middleman, their ability to cut out corruption because of a ledger that keeps all the transactions listed in. I mean, there have been forks in that blockchain resulting in something like Bitcoin Gold, I believe, versus Bitcoin. So there are problems with that. But I don't know if it's a wrench. It's hard to make the banks disappear, because even when Andrew Jackson back in the United States history gotten rid of the most powerful central banks, they're still back.
Yeah, his last dying words were, "I killed the banks."
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what? They came back when you died, bro.
That's crazy.
Was it Truman that did that for us?
I don't know.
I gotta look that up.
It's
whoever created the IRS. Oh my God! No, not that. Yes. Was it Truman that created the IRS? So I just found out about this when the IRS was created.
Kyle just had like a revelation.
Dude, I had a long time ago, but I cannot believe
we gotta let him get this thought.
All right. So when the IRS was created and we switched over to fiat money, every American had to sell their gold to the United States at a set price that the United States made. So they had
gold,
to do that.
Okay.
That's crazy, dude.
Oh, they made them sell their gold?
They made them.
Because people were stockpiling gold?
Exactly. So they took their power away from them, because your power is gold. And gold has always gone up forever. Like, yes, there has been dips.
Yeah, I know.
But then the following year... It'll go up 3 times, and there'll be another dip, and they'll go up.
Do you think they'll
look at the
demand
history of price of gold, dude? It always go up forever. If you buy gold, there will be dips, but it was. Yeah, look at charts. Look at the history of it.
Buy gold now. What's stopping you from investing everything in gold?
I don't have money.
Yeah, gold's expensive.
And there's a reason why millionaires do not buy like blocks of gold from like QVC. You know what I mean? Like. I'm serious. When you see that stuff,
I know what you're saying.
You know what I'm saying? It's like,
I know, but
it's not the most sound investment you think it is. You got to know the market.
What I'm saying is, it was a robbery. It was a robbery of the United States.
Okay, all right.
Population of the people, because they had to give up their possessions of what will increase forever.
Right.
And they had to sell it at a set price. That they had no negotiations about it. It was a robbery, dude. That's a freaking robbery.
That's not cool. If I had gold, I wouldn't want to part with my gold.
Yeah, and if you didn't want to give it to them, they would freaking come to your house and they would arrest you, and then they'd put you in prison, and then they would take it anyway.
Damn, I hope they don't do that with cryptocurrencies.
Think about that, dude.
They could do that with anything, though. I mean, they could do that.
Think about how strong the government was to make you do that.
Not that they can't not do it with cryptocurrencies. Like, maybe there's a way to like surefire stop all that. But at the end of the day, if the government wants to do anything, like, they could declare war on their own country if they wanted to.
Yeah,
like, they could do anything. It doesn't, like, wealth doesn't really matter at
if you're in
certain levels.
If you're in the military, you fight for
and I'm
foreign
not saying
and domestic.
That we're doing that. We're
both
not doing
enemies,
that.
foreign and domestic. You know what I mean? So you have to watch out.
Sure.
That's why Second Amendment. Second Amendment all the way.
Are you saying that the government is a puppet master of a police state?
If you let it be.
I mean, what do you believe? That's the question. What do you believe?
If you let, if you educate yourself, and you don't even have to go to college to like get educated. Like, you can learn almost anything you need to learn on a freaking Kindle or whatever books. They're like $1.
Too bad
or go to a public library.
Too bad everyone's too depressed to read anymore.
No, I think reading's coming back, man. I think
reading's coming back.
Yeah,
reading's making a comeback.
I really do. I really do think reading's. I've started reading more lately. Like, I've read a lot,
but we're definitely
I've read a whole lot lately.
Yeah,
we're like we're reading billboards. We're reading stuff.
No, I mean,
like,
I really am.
Covers.
And I have friends.
I like this. We can roll with this.
Well, I have friends that they'll send Instagram stories about books they're reading in like a passage that's really speaking to them, I mean, some of it I don't agree with. I'm like, you're crazy.
That's pretty quaint.
Yeah, but I mean,
so you're reading things that people are sending you.
No, I've been reading like books.
No, I know. Reading will
Like
never
that, I
die.
just pick out.
Hopefully,
I'm reading like books that I pick out, not article, I'm saying
like real books.
I'm saying
But how do you
to
like
differentiate articles
you know why I'm having
on
a problem?
the internet.
I think,
I'm not reading, like when usually people want to say they're reading, it means they're reading articles on the internet that's like somebody's opinion. I'm talking about reading books. I'm just
I got you.
differentiating.
Oh,
I got you.
the ways of the old ones.
Back in my day, kid, we had something called books.
We had these books things.
Damn.
They were actually sewn together, pages, real pages.
Real. I mean, I like Audible. That's
son-
how I get.
son.
That's how I get a lot of my information into
These
my
glue.
head.
These horseshoe glue.
The old way, they used to sew them though. The old way.
Yeah, that was nuts. That must have taken forever.
Actually, I
you
watched a
describe
YouTube
them?
video. I watched a
Who's
YouTube
the-
video
who's
on
the printing
how
press? Who printing press?
they made
Gutenberg.
a book
Gutenberg.
back in the day. I watched a YouTube video on how they made a book back in the day. It was actually quite beautiful. It's an art form.
Killed horses, right? Cut off their hooves.
Use their
Roast them
hide.
down.
They didn't show that.
That's how
No,
you,
it was
that's how
like
you
there
make
was
the
like
glue.
there was like a guy with like
For the
a
binding.
feather in his
Yeah.
hat, dressed all old timey, and he was like
Oh, they had the
sewing.
feather in his house.
And he was sewing the pages together. It was like a real. That's how they did it. They didn't have like glue, like throw the glue on. This was before horses.
Now you can like
Well,
back
not
then,
before the animal horses. That'd be way old. I mean, horses.
dude,
were
back
that'd
then
be
that had to be
super old.
so expensive. That book, like
I'm dying over
back
here,
then-
guys. Come on, I'm throwing around. I'm lobbing you stuff.
Horses
You're
are
not
cool.
with me. Forget it. Anyway, what the heck were we talking about? We were getting the books.
We're talking
Or reading
about
making a
how
comeback.
cryptocurrency is going to overthrow the government.
No.
All right.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's good.
That's not gonna
Hey,
happen.
I'm gonna throw.
Yeah, probably
Hey,
not.
here's what I say. I'm gonna throw some money at it.
Oh, we're
But
talking
I
about
say-
gold.
Yeah, gold.
Oh, gold. Okay.
Yeah, gold is a great hedge
crypto-
against inflation.
I think you should
it's something to
invest in
play-
cryptocurrency.
It's something cool to
personally.
play with right now, as long as you got the money to lose. But like you said, living in LA, how much money do you really have to lose? So
Like-
it's still going to be a big deal.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
if we were to think completely practically and very, very conservatively, and only paying attention to our most like immediate day-to-day dealings, yeah, we should not really throw any money into anything at all. If we're considering traditional investments, for example, because for the most part, even though this cool new Robinhood app came out, which allows us to trade in stocks and stuff, thank you, Kyle, for introducing that to me.
Oh yeah.
It's
I didn't
just-
invest.
I'll
in
put
it,
a
but
link in
yeah.
the bottom.
Yeah,
It's just
Oh, yeah,
weird.
You said you're gonna. You're like, oh, you should use my reference. You did.
Well,
It's
I
like
didn't
we
because
can't-
I
we
didn't
can't-
buy any because
just
all of
the
a sudden
saying goes that
cryptocurrencies came alive in my world. So
Look, the saying goes that we can't gamble what we can't afford to lose. And so what, like,
That's the smart thing to do.
I
but-
mean, yeah, obviously.
people
well,
don't
if
do
you're
that.
gonna go
Yeah,
by
but I'm personally
the golden rule
desperate.
of
Like,
gambling,
I have very little, and as such, I
what
do
about the
want.
golden rule of gambling? The house always wins.
Yeah, well, sure. If you're in the literal casino where you're playing games that are based on purely odds, which has no backing in anything else, not even speculation, then sure, the house always wins in that because that is tried and true. I've lost the money. I lost a lot of money in Vegas, so I know that out of experience.
it happens without a doubt.
Yeah, but it's something that's worth investing into, and to be in the right side of history with that is also something that is like a very good stepping stone about which we can see, okay, like, are we making the right decisions in life to become better equipped at handling our problems, if not stronger to deal with our problems and have a more well-off life before the age of 65, which is something that is, I think, worth achieving because there's really, it's competitive. It's very difficult. Not even just in Los Angeles, but anywhere now. This is more of a globalized world that we live in, and so we have so many different factors about which we need to compete. So
Well, people need
Yeah.
to understand that you don't vote once a year. You vote every single day. When you put your money and you pay for something and like you have to pay your bills and all this kind of stuff, you got to know where that money's going. You got to know where your candidates are thinking, what they're voting on. Like, I feel like, how long has your senator been in position? And like, you putting that money on the products that you buy, if you don't buy American, you're not, you're like, that's money leaving there, leaving
Yeah, but
the United
that's
States.
part of the problem is you don't know where all the money's going.
That's crazy, right?
No, it's like,
it's crazy. It's not
if I go and buy myself a Pepsi Coke out of a Pepsi Coke. Pepsi Cola.
Coke. You know, a Pepsi Coke.
Hey, I'm being unbiased over here. I'm non-biased, okay? It's a Pepsi Coke in my world. All right. I'm not taking sides.
What about Cheerwine?
But I buy one of those, okay, a Pepsi or a Coke, whatever it is.
Yeah.
But, like, I don't know, like, you know, their business ethics. I don't know where they have factories.
Well, almost everyone can obviously feel the corruption seething from them as though it is an incredible negative vortex of energy.
They sell a product that rots your teeth out and could probably give you heart disease if you drink enough. And it gives you like
but what about the
the number one killer in America is heart disease. And they're making a lot of money off of it.
From an economics point of view, what if they have a lot of factories?
The death of their brothers and sisters on this planet?
All right, time out. My point being, though, if from an economics point of view, so like, okay, so then stop buying them, put them out of business.
But you can't because you're addicted to it.
No, how many people in America like are employed because of Pepsi or Coke?
But there could be employed by so many other companies if they weren't there. You know, you never know.
Yeah, too bad employment.
It's like once it gets there, like you're just there. You can't say, well, what if something else happened? But it's nice to think about that. But this is reality. This is where we're at.
Well, this is the reality that's been instigated onto us, and to think about employment as being something that is of the most crucial importance is where I feel like there needs to be an additional change. For once in history, please, a spiritual change, in that we develop ourselves into being people who are actually contributors to society, and we make communities where we actually can live together and appreciate our existence on this earth.
You mean change culture?
I don't know. Maybe. I don't know.
It's all live together as one and understand and sell Bitcoin.
I know.
You know what? Now I definitely see the Southern California native coming out of it.
No, I'm not trying to be. I'm not trying
He's
to be.
Definitely from LA.
I'm not trying to
Now
be
I see it.
libertarian or even liberal,
No,
for that matter. It's just
It was
the
just more
problem.
like peace, man.
The
Peace.
problem why any of this even matters that we're talking about is that we are in a type of life where we're essentially just slaves, and that
some
hasn't
of us
changed.
are, not all of us.
Yeah, not all of us. Most of us.
Are you woke?
I mean, everyone everyone thinks they are, but you know, you only
I
get
excited.
you
when
only
I
get
to
more
use
and
millennial
more.
words.
You only get more and more knowledgeable and woke. You know, the more you learn, because you know, if you read every day for like 10 years or something, you're going to be on a whole other level than what you were before, and that means that being woke is a gradual process, and there's a frame of reference
It's
about
a
which
gradual
we can
wokeness.
know. Yeah, and it also has to do with
I totally subscribe to that.
Yeah, our environment that we're woke about. You know, if we're living in an environment,
Our environment we were woke about.
yeah, if we live in an environment where we need to know like all its dealings and know where all the money is going, that we're like voting to give
More
unto
transparency.
and if we figure out
I think that being woke is honestly like you could become very woke if we just communicate with each other. I think somewhere along the lines, like right here, like right in the middle of us, like we're having a three-way conversation, but not really. Kyle's on his phone right now.
No, I'm looking for something.
Now, all right. But
Well,
what I'm trying to
Listen,
say,
I can hear you, bro.
as far as that goes,
I'm just saying,
You're-
like
you're-
basic
you're very
communication
correct.
has like
Yeah.
stopped.
yeah,
You know,
that's
and
that's
it's
what I was
because-
before this podcast. I was wondering as to what I would even be interested in talking about. And one of the very, very first things that came to my head was friendship. Just friendship, in which we actually have meaningful communication with other people, and we are considered to one another, and we appreciate their existence. I mean, on the most bare bones way of thinking about what that is, and that is very lacking nowadays. Instead, what we have,
let me just interject this real quick. All right, real quick. Like a podcast is basically just a conversation. Like that's all podcasts are.
Mind blown.
I'm just saying. Back in the day, like our parents wouldn't be like, "Hey, like let's do a podcast." No, they'd be like, "Hey, let's have Sunday dinner."
They listened to podcasts on the
Keep
radio
going.
back in the day.
But-
Like Orson Welles.
Yeah, and
that's
it's
how he
just-
made his money.
and it's
no,
just a
he was
shame
telling
that
a story.
anything,
that was theater. That was theater.
But it was a podcast.
It wasn't
like
a conversation.
what we used to have like values in common with each other. Those pillars which can be ascribed to something like friendship, for lack of better words, or if there are even any other words for that. That's just lacking. We don't trust each other. We don't want to look each other in the eyes.
We don't trust. Wait, what do you mean? We don't trust, or we don't want to tell each other the truth?
Both. Yeah.
good. Both.
I mean, yeah, because
You
there's
guys
just
freaking high-fived on me. That's messed up. You guys just
We
high-fived.
both said both at the same time. It was pretty sick.
yeah, it's that's just
Yeah, but I was like all right, whatever.
no, it's
Just ask
it's
that.
good. It's just
You
we're
asked the question.
it's just
Set it
it's
up. You
not
did a good job.
it's not the same. It's just not. We don't have like a down to earth, wholesome system of that anymore. Even amongst like I hear a lot of different social circles of a variety of different friends that I have. And like there's just all this drama and all this addiction and all this fighting and all this insanity. Like just everyone's insane and they don't understand that that's not what the point of being together and being able to communicate one another about the things that matter to you, because having meaningful relationships is one factor about love, which makes living life that much more interesting and meaningful. And that is something that is very lacking. Looking at other people, knowing, yeah. I mean, we can talk about it.
When
as
it
though
boils down to it, you're talking about love.
It's all
yes,
about love.
yes, sir. And
I'm
it's
talking about love. Love.
That's why they killed.
No,
John
that's
Lennon.
from one of my favorite
That's why they
movies.
killed
That's
John Lennon.
The
He was
Doors.
trying to love.
That's Jim
Yeah.
Morrison.
yeah, or maybe
Well, it's Val
or maybe
Kilmer
that guy
in-
was crazy.
All right.
He couldn't
I
find
got-
out whether he loved Jesus or John Lennon more, so he instead decided to commit a mortal sin against his religion and kill the
Whoa, who are
favorite
we
band
talking
member
about?
of the
That's
Beatles and
not-
went to jail.
Who are you guys
Oh,
talking
that's
about?
crazy. Yeah. Oh, you're talking about the guy that killed him.
Yeah,
All right, I gotta drop a quote real fast.
swag.
This is a,
I was still on Jim Morrison, and you guys just dropped that.
Hey man,
Go on.
I'm about to drop. This is a quote that I did. It's and I have
You
to,
just looked up
Yeah,
a quote that you did?
yeah, bro. Yeah.
He was
'Cause-
like looking for
yeah,
like
this is
3
my
minutes.
podcast. That's the whole point. Because this is my podcast.
Yeah,
I
but
can
you-
do whatever I want to.
You just looked up
All
a quote that
Yeah,
you said. Okay, go on. You
It
should
goes
just
with
know
this.
your quote.
It goes with this. No, because I want to make sure I got it perfect. It says, "The more I learn, comma, the more I realize how much I don't know."
Yeah, very true.
wait.
It's like
Time out,
every
time
time
out.
I open a door,
Please say
there's
that
like
again. Please. I was still on when you said comma. Don't say comma.
the more I learn, the more I realize how much I don't know.
It is-
Yeah.
So it's like you open one door and there's
Okay.
6 other doors
I
in
hear
front
that.
of you.
Yeah,
and
and I
then
guess-
you have to go open up all those doors,
Yeah,
and then you
it's
have to pick
Pandora's
which one you
box.
want, and then open that door and there's 20 doors in front of you.
So you need to get woke about what you don't know,
There is no such thing.
Find
as
out
or get woke that
Stop.
you don't know.
find
There we
out
go.
what
Guys,
you believe in.
I'm gonna drop this bomb on you. There's no such thing as woke. Nobody is more woke than somebody else. I mean, yes,
Yes, there are.
Are you-
but
Yes,
like
there-
there's different
there
levels
are.
of wokeness. You know what I mean? It's like
Are you saying
Well,
I
I don't-
haven't
yeah.
attained
a woke is
enlightenment?
just a dumb term. No, woke is a dumb term. Okay, like what is it you're talking about? I think
I'm enlightened as
no,
F.
no. Listen to me. Listen to me. I think woke is a cop out. Like what the heck does woke mean? You know, like yeah, we weren't saying this 2 years ago. It's like a new concept, but like what is it's masking something.
It's basically people saying
People
that they
are
know.
afraid to say something what they really believe, so
Yeah,
they
yeah.
call it woke.
Yeah.
No, what that basically
What's that
is just a binding force about which people can show each other respect about knowing a small amount of information about a particular topic. That's being woke, and
Well,
usually
if
has to
I
do with
tell you
social
what-
social
if I
studies.
pull-
Polar
If I-
bears are dying in the
If I tell
Antarctica.
people what my woke is,
Actually, their numbers
if
are
I
going
tell
up, and they
people
don't
what
live
my
in
woke
Antarctica.
is, and it doesn't match up with what your woke is, well then who's really woke? You know what I mean?
Well, if you told everybody, even in this room, for example, to write down a simple definition about anything, we would likely not have the same viewpoints on anything at all. So that is, we can never truly understand each other.
Let's try it. One topic. Let's try. Say
Oh, shit.
one topic.
Well, no, I mean for it to be a real experiment.
No,
actually,
I mean, you know,
it's hard. We
let's
need
not-
paper,
yeah,
we
don't
need
wanna-
pens.
let's not
I don't
do
know if I have a
trivia. I don't want to
pen.
do trivia
I
with
got a
this.
pen and paper.
No, I don't want this to be like turn into like a like would you rather,
Okay,
or like have you ever done this?
Yeah,
No,
maybe off
that's not
podcast we'll
the-
see what comes up or something, or maybe towards the end of the podcast.
Okay.
But anyways, so that's cool. Yeah, I don't know, cryptocurrency. Love.
Cryptocurrency. All right.
Let's see how
Well, at
long
least
this
we're
takes.
all woke, I guess.
Yeah. Well, it's as long as you continue growing. Because I've been reading this book recently, or more specifically, I've been listening to a book over Audible.
I think I like
I've been
Kyle's
reading.
question though.
I say the same things.
It really goes back to
Totally
if
reading.
you want to tie it into this, what do you believe? And that's
Okay,
why we're all
so
here today.
in this particular instance in my life, since I'm recovering from a relationship which wasn't really conducive for my growth, and also since I've had to come to terms with the fact that I wasn't as good at certain things and I wasn't as smart as I thought I was, I realized, okay, I need to be real with myself and I need to go on a journey in which I am continuously learning and participating in the things that I like. It's very simple. It's a type of philosophy that almost any parent can ascribe to their kids, but I've only recently come into thinking that and actually focusing on that. And as such, I'm thinking about what do I believe, because it's a compass that I need to follow. I don't really have a compass about which I can guide my actions in life right now. So I've only recently,
That's fine. What's wrong with that? Nothing's wrong with that.
Well, yeah, I mean, I just feel
who really has it. Together.
Anyone can have a set of principles and live by them. That is what I'm basically trying to achieve. I don't know what.
As soon as you think you know, right?
You don't know.
You don't know. Don't know.
Yeah, as long as you keep seeking, you'll definitely find more and more and more and more and more.
Yeah.
Be a Rolling Stone.
Well, see, I don't know about that. Because sometimes you need to be one of those stones that are on the hill and that has a firm foundation.
That's where you stay.
For you to build something upon. You don't want something that's going to fall into the swamp.
And you want moss.
I built another one, fall into the swamp. It fell into the swamp. And I built another one. It burned down and fell into the swamp.
Turned into like
you know what I'm talking about?
Irish jig. No.
No. Monty Python, Search of the Holy Grail.
Oh.
He's like, okay. Father. But I don't want to be king.
I didn't pick up on that reference. It's been years.
You know what I'm talking about?
All right, I let the ball fall on that.
Oh, you got my arrow.
All right. I'm questioning if Daniel even remembers. He's just laughing along.
Yeah, what do I believe? Right now, I'm trying to find out what I even believe in, because I've always thought to myself that when I go into my mind and I try to feel out what my own mental architecture is, I've always thought that I've known. But I realize that the more you learn, the more that you actually try to learn about anything at all, and absolutely anything. It just expands your own curiosity and your level of vision. So you just go into a state of knowing less and less relative to what all the knowledge really is. And so the only things that I'm really believing in right now are the things that have had an immediate impact on my life. It's a very, it's a very, it's a very mundane, and it's perhaps not a very.
That's all you can have experience with. That's where your story ends, basically at you. Right? I don't know. Maybe.
No.
Hopefully not. That's very dismal.
No, I mean, like, I can't.
Yeah, if you're
I can't talk
crap,
about. I can't talk
cares about you.
No, I mean, like, I can't talk about like somebody else's experience. But as an actor, you get to explore that, because you do research on somebody else's experience, and I think that's cool.
And
that's one of the things I love about.
My ex-girlfriend, she was an actress.
What I do,
and as
I
such,
love doing that about acting.
Yeah, I become more and more familiar with why that is actually a very cool profession. Because at first glance, I didn't really understand what would motivate someone to get a living out of entertainment. That's when I was a little more rigid. I'm just pure science. Like I'm in love with math and science and technology and the like, and I've had basically the first 6-7 years of my education just being purely that and nothing else, very cold logic in which I adhere to just particular paradigms. But then as I went out into the world and I've run into a lot of people, especially my girlfriend, I realized, wow, you can participate in something that matters that only has to do with your own self-development. And as you grow into professions where, for example, where you have to sell yourself is an important thing, you later learn, as you get to learn more and more about yourself, that you can embody a full scale of emotions, and you realize, wow, I can feel something about just about anything and actually know myself.
That's a breakthrough.
Yeah,
it's a breakthrough.
It's amazing.
That's what you have. It's very cool.
And that is what
you can have. You just had a breakthrough right now.
That's great. Welcome to Kyle's therapy session.
You just had a breakthrough right now. You could do but you know what? I think that having a breakthrough, you could do that in any profession. And that's one of the cool things about acting. It's kind of like more on a psychological level. And psychologists get to do that with real people trying to figure out their own stuff. That's what therapists do.
At a fee.
What a fee? Well,
I would fix you for money.
Think about acting isn't a fee? Are you kidding me? Take acting classes in this town. You tell me it's not a fee.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Don't you love it?
I don't know.
That could be, you know what?
It's just because
I would love to talk about a podcast. Maybe in a future episode.
I want to talk about a podcast on your
future
podcast.
episode. We could talk about. I can't do it. Never mind.
It's like you can talk about. Hey,
let's say acting classes in LA.
So we're actually getting pretty close to an hour, and I want to keep it kind of close to that. So I'm gonna go live. I'm gonna do an introduction, like, what do you believe again?
Okay,
and then
cool.
We're just gonna
wait a second.
We're just gonna.
How long were we going?
This is close to an hour right now.
Wow.
So I'm gonna say, like, what do you believe, and then we're gonna. I'll introduce you, and then we'll recap what we talked about. And I want you to say that funny joke that you said outside.
Funny joke.
Didn't he say a funny it's the best joke he knows?
I thought
was
I had
your
the best
joke.
joke. That I knew.
Okay. You said that was
I
you.
would never claim
That's
that.
how good. That's how good that
You
joke.
claim
was.
that joke as mine?
All right,
Oh.
you guys. All right, thanks for listening to the podcast. About to go live. Do a little recap. We appreciate all
Not
your
my
support.
joke, by the way.
I had Mikey V up here today along with Daniel. I didn't give you an introduction earlier. I'm sorry.
Oh, cool. It's all good.
Yeah, but
They all know
You're gonna
who
put
he
links-
They
is.
should have known anyway.
You
Yeah.
Yeah, you should know anyway. They're gonna be watching this on the screen. So here we're about to go live. So hold on to your britches, y'all. All right, Mikey V, you gotta.
Glad to say, yeah. Glad to see I made the cut. No, it's all
You
good.
gotta squeeze in.
No,
You
no,
gotta
I'm
squeeze
good.
in.
I just want my nice holiday belly in the shot. That's
Zoom
what I
in.
want. I'm good like that. No, I'll dip in. I'm
Yeah.
good like this. I don't want to show my whole.
We're going to 3.
I don't want to give the whole
2,
package.
1. I said, demons, get out of the internet. Get out of here, demons. Hey, welcome to What Do You Believe?
There we go.
Yeah.
Very nice. Very
So
nice.
today,
Very
I have 2 guests with me, Mr. Daniel and Mr. Mikey V.
What's up?
And
So-
we had an awesome podcast, I feel like.
We did.
covered a lot of
I-
deep.
yeah,
like,
we
it's
went
almost like
deep.
therapy a little bit.
It was
towards the end.
therapeutic.
I cried at least a tear or two.
It was nice. It's nice.
Yeah, it was therapeutic. It was therapeutic.
And I
My
totally,
endorphins are going.
I totally. At the beginning, we talk about how with climate change is a fraud.
Or something
Well,
like
yeah.
that.
Well, we went.
That's all, I
think
give
we
a
segued-
I give a good premise of why I think kind of climate change might
Yeah,
be a fraud.
because if you follow the
Okay.
money, it is a greater indicator
money.
of the truth.
It's not my original
Oh, we're
idea.
getting hearts. I
but,
forget how this thing works.
somebody-
It's actually live.
Yeah, I'm going to put a link to the video when I post this, so
Yeah.
you can check it out there and see what you think too, because I feel like it's all about the money, y'all. It's all
Well,
about
not
the
everything
money.
was about the money. We
I
went
sure love
Vanilla
spiritual.
Sky,
We
like
went
Vanilla-
spiritual. We went.
Oh yeah.
We
Oh,
went
yeah.
like living as just people and humans and the human experience. We
Yeah,
went
we
deep.
talked
We
about
went way
totally,
beyond money,
yeah.
dude.
Super
Yeah.
important lately for me, especially. It's something
But yet-
that you really need to have that to feel like anything important in life. Or
What,
maybe that's my
money?
opinion. No, not money.
I
mean, that's pretty cool, too.
I thought we were talking about stuff, and now I'm really confused.
No, it's
I'm like, I'm
money's cool.
actually not on the same page as you guys. I thought I was the whole time.
No, okay, so what? We talked about cryptocurrency. So we talked about money and financial
Crypto,
systems
yeah, we went
extensively.
cryptocurrencies.
Yeah, we
A
talked
little
about
bit of
we
the
talked
whole
about
Bitcoin explosion.
the Bitcoin explosion, the bomb cyclone, and how that
The bomb
Cyclone.
cyclone, which has nothing to do with money or cryptocurrencies or anything. That's something completely different, which I didn't know about.
a little bit of variety.
So excited, I put my hands up. When I get excited, my hands go like that. I don't know why I go, like, yes.
Listen to me.
Very cool. What was that other thing we talked about?
I don't
Love
know.
and friendship. Yeah, that's it.
Oh yes, love and friendship.
I didn't. You can actually read.
Yeah, we can.
Oh,
Oh,
People are
reading's
saying,
making
hey,
a comeback
People
too.
are saying, "Hey, Jason Hill is saying, hey, bye, Kyle. Football is still on." Aw.
Oh, thanks a
Thanks.
lot, dude. Like, just dropping us for, who's that dude? Just dropping us for football. I mean, we're way more interested than football.
And Derek Taylor here. I've actually had some pretty good conversations with Derek on Facebook.
Where's Derek?
But he's a dude from back in NC. He says climate change has always been a way to wash away taxpayer money. Ooh.
Oh, snap.
He sounds woke.
Keep
Ooh,
going.
we talked about being woke.
Oh, yeah, and how-
we talked about being woke.
And how you can never be woke because the more you learn, the less you know, and you realize that being woke is not really knowing anything at at all relative to what true knowledge
At
is.
the end of
No,
the
but
day,
he sounds actually smart.
Yeah.
at the end of the day,
You're really smart.
Yeah.
we came up with the fact that it's that little like thing that you saw after school special. The more you know,
Yeah. It
the
really
more
is.
you know.
That's
They
a pretty
talk-
good. That's a
But
good
isn't it-
name.
It has a star.
Yeah, you guys remember that. It is
Yeah.
really is the more you know.
Malcolm Jamal Warner. What happened to him, dude? The Reading Rainbow.
Why did you? Oh.
What happened to that? What happened to him? Is
Oh,
he still
I
alive?
mean, he's
Whenever
doing
I
pretty
think about
good.
a
Oh
Reading
my
Rainbow.
God, I want to look
Of
it up.
course he's alive, dude. He's like,
Oh,
yeah, he's
sure.
still the man.
Well, you know-
He's still like filming that show. I don't know if he's
Is
still
he?
filming it now, but he filmed it for a very long time.
Was it on public access or something?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was.
PBS, yeah.
I love that. We should cover
yeah,
that
he's still
song.
doing it. Oh my God.
Yeah,
It looks good. It looks like he's getting good health.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
good. Yeah,
Looks
dude,
like it-
got the
I mean,
rainbow.
The Blue's Clues
looking
dude
good.
like turned out to be like,
Oh
like
shit.
they got a new guy for a reason.
Yeah, I heard
I don't
about
know if y'all
that,
know
dude.
that.
He made so
Oh,
much.
And
yeah.
usually people that deal with children's stuff, they got kind of crazy sometimes. That's just what happens. But not all of them.
Wait a
Obviously,
second.
he
Wait a
does a good
second.
job.
What's his name?
Malcolm Jamal Warner. No, that's not him.
Yeah, that's definitely not his name because that's the guy from
That's
the Cosby
Theo.
Show.
That's
Kyle, I caught
LeVar-
that when you said
LeVar-
the first time, but I was too embarrassed to I was like, am I right about this?
No,
That
call
was
me
wrong.
out, bro. Just call me out.
All
That's
right,
what it's all
Malcolm
about.
Jamal Warner
Humble pie.
is not
Yeah.
from Reading Rainbow.
No, it's the Cosby Show.
Yeah, that's the Cosby Show.
Yeah, this is LeVar.
LeVar Burton, dude.
Yeah,
Yeah.
LeVar,
Jeez.
dude. I'm so sorry, bro. Malcolm Jamal Warner. I'm so sorry too, man. I'm
Such
sorry,
a
guys.
Southerner.
Yo,
forgive
it
you.
was the
Just
same. But it's like
joking.
the same time of life. The
Same.
Cosby Show and the Reading Rainbow. It's like the same time in my life.
I'm not making any
I think that's where it
implications.
joined together.
Oh shoot.
Yeah, we needed a good laugh anyway. I'm good for that. Good laugh.
You're gonna get a lot of hate mail. I hope. You know what? If you get hate mail, that means at least people are listening.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all about
Yeah.
Send
getting a
them hate
reaction
mail.
out of people.
Send
for
me
Yeah,
sure.
hate mail.
yeah. Sorry, guys. I'm sorry about that. Really.
Oh, someone
really
just
was on my
joined.
heart.
Jessica
I'm sure you're doing great, both of you.
Kraft just joined.
Hey, Jessica, you're awesome. Thanks for. And
Don't know
Elena,
who you are,
She says,
but you're
"Oh
awesome."
hell no."
Oh hell no! What?
Elena's telling. I guess I got the Malcolm Jamal Warner thing wrong. Yeah. Sorry about that.
Wait, who called
so
you out on that?
sorry.
Who called you out?
My friend Helena. We took a trip on.
Hilarious.
We took a trip
Hilarious.
on
I'm telling Malcolm.
Malcolm. Yeah, we took a trip.
If you know
a hiking
him,
trip
tell
in,
him.
in Griffith this morning.
It'd be
like-
cool if you got into a tweet war with them. But anyway.
Yeah, I don't tweet too
Wow,
much.
that sounds stressful. I would just be kept up at night over comments of someone being really hateful about something I did, and I'd be wondering why do you even care that much?
But if it was Malcolm Jamal Warner or
Yeah,
LeVar
man,
Burton,
I don't want
like
to hurt
tweeting at
nobody's
you,
feelings, man. I ain't trying to hurt nobody's feelings. Anyways, you guys, thank you so much for tuning in on Facebook Live, and thank you for joining in on the podcast.
Thank you, guys.
If you're on Facebook Live, make sure you come back to this same spot. I'll upload the link for the whole video. I have to edit the audio and video together. Thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate it. Thank you, Daniel. Thank you, Mikey V.
Thank you very
Y'all
much.
been great. And
Kyle, thanks for having
you guys
us.
are truly woke.
yeah.
Thank you, my friend. Thank
You're
you.
so woke.
Even though you're telling us we know nothing.
Yep. All right, y'all.
Appreciate that.
Take it easy.
All right.